Welcome to our special episode where we honor the memory and celebrate the lives of the Harvey family, Brian, Catherine, and their daughters, Stella and Ruby, whose lives were tragically cut short on New Year's Day, 2006. Today, we delve into the story of this vibrant family, their contributions to their community, and the indelible mark they left on the hearts of those who knew them. On the first day of 2006, the Harvey family, Brian, his wife Catherine, and their daughters, Stella, aged 9, and Ruby, age 4, were buzzing with excitement. They had planned a lunchtime barbecue to ring in the new year with their close friends and family. Rising with the sun, they embarked on their preparations, looking forward to a day filled with laughter, good food, and the company of their loved ones. Brian Harvey, 49, was a figure well known in Richmond, Virginia, not just for his warm personality but also for his notable contributions to the music scene. In the 1980s, he had catapulted to fame as the singer and songwriter for House of Freaks, an underground indie band acclaimed for its raw, powerful music and thought-provoking lyrics. Despite parting ways with his musical partner, Johnny Hott, in the 90s, Brian remained a dedicated musician. His love for music was evident to all who knew him, culminating in a poignant performance on New Year's Eve, a show that, unbeknownst to anyone, would be his final curtain call. Catherine, at 39, had made a name for herself as the vibrant co-owner of World of Mirth, a beloved toy store that had become a staple in the community. More than a businesswoman, Catherine was an artist whose creativity knew no bounds. She poured her heart and soul into every endeavor, making World of Mirth a place where imagination and joy were in endless supply. Her efforts extended beyond the store as she actively contributed to various community projects, enriching the lives of those around her with her artistic vision and kind spirit. On that fateful morning, Brian stepped outside their home in the chic Woodland Heights neighborhood to pick up the newspaper. Lost in thought, he returned inside, leaving the door unlocked, a minor oversight in what was generally considered a safe area. However, that day, it would lead to a nightmare scenario. While Brian was likely mulling over the headlines, two predators were silently approaching, drawn by the vulnerability of the unlocked door. Inside, Catherine was in the midst of baking cookies, a sweet treat for the guests expected later in the day. The aroma of baking filled the house, a symbol of the warmth and hospitality that the Harveys were known for. When Catherine heard unfamiliar voices in the living room, she assumed they were early arrivals for the barbecue. However, the scene that greeted her was far from the friendly faces she was expecting. Instead, two strangers stood before her, marking the beginning of an unimaginable terror. The family, including Brian, Catherine, and Ruby, were quickly forced into the basement playroom, a space that should have been a haven of joy and laughter, not a place of fear. Stella, having spent the night away, was blissfully unaware of the horror unfolding at home. The intruders wasted no time in securing their captives, using electrical cords and packing tape to bind them, effectively silencing any hope of resistance. As they began to pillage the home, a knock at the door interrupted their plunder. The leader of the duo made a calculated decision, freeing Catherine but with a chilling warning. Any attempt to seek help would result in the deaths of her husband and youngest daughter. Torn between desperation and maternal instinct, Catherine faced an agonizing dilemma. With Stella expected to return at any moment, answering the door could endanger her eldest daughter as well. Ignoring the knock might provoke the intruders, escalating the already volatile situation. In a moment of profound courage, Catherine chose to comply, hoping to protect her family from further harm. With a heavy heart, she opened the door, stepping into the unknown. Before anyone could fully grasp the situation, Stella, the eldest daughter, raced past her mother, Catherine, eager to get to the playroom where she expected to find joy and play, not knowing the horror that awaited. Her friend, also arriving for what was supposed to be a day of celebration, attempted to follow. However, Catherine, with a face drained of color and bearing a weight of fear, blocked the young girl's path. This action, so out of character for the normally vibrant and welcoming Catherine, left Kirsten Perkinson, the girl's mother, taken aback. Confused and concerned, she asked if everything was all right. Catherine, straining to maintain composure, claimed she was not feeling well and abruptly ended the conversation, closing the door on Kirsten and her daughter. Descending back into the basement, the horror of the situation intensified for Catherine. Stella, her 9-year-old, was now tied up with the rest of the family, their home transformed from a place of love and safety into a scene of unimaginable terror. Once the family was securely bound, the nightmare escalated. The intruders, now revealing the depths of their cruelty, began their violent assault. The leader, having armed himself with a knife from the Harvey's own kitchen, coldly and methodically began to slice at the throats of each family member, including the innocent children. Frustrated by his victims' resilience, he resorted to a claw hammer, delivering fatal blows to ensure they would not survive. In a final act of callousness, the ring was removed from Catherine's finger, symbolizing a theft of more than just physical possessions, but of life and love. The murderers then set the room on fire, an attempt to erase the evidence of their heinous acts. As they made their escape, they nonchalantly stole a DVD player and the plate of cookies Catherine had baked, a stark contrast to the brutality they had just inflicted. The silence of the aftermath was broken by Johnny Hott, a close friend of Brian's, arriving in anticipation of a New Year's celebration. The smoke that greeted him as he opened the door was a harrowing signal of the tragedy inside. Overwhelmed by the smell of the blaze, he urgently called 911. When the emergency services arrived, they were confronted with a scene that would haunt even the most seasoned among them. The discovery of 4 bodies in the remains of the basement, a testament to a family's final moments of horror, evoked tears from officers and paramedics alike. The realization that the parents had been made to witness the murder of their children, and vice versa, was a burden too heavy to bear. Autopsy reports painted a grim picture of the family's final moments. Brian and Catherine's lives were claimed by blunt force trauma to the head, a brutal end to lives once filled with music and creativity. Stella's cause of death was a combination of blunt force trauma and smoke inhalation, a haunting indicator that she was still alive as the fire raged. Ruby, the youngest at just 4 years old, succumbed to stab wounds, a chilling testament to the mercilessness of their attackers. The investigation into this heinous crime began immediately, though leads were scarce. The authorities knew that those responsible might boast or confide in others about their actions. In a bid to encourage any potential informants, they appealed to the public for any information that might lead to a breakthrough. It wouldn't be long before a crucial tip would come to light, offering hope in the pursuit of justice for the Harvey family. On January 6th, a critical call came into the police station that would change the direction of the investigation into the Harvey family murders. LaToya Pauley, deeply concerned for her friend Ashley Baskerville, reached out to the authorities. She had a chilling story to share. She believed that Ashley's boyfriend and his uncle were responsible for the brutal murders of the Harvey family. LaToya's fear had grown to the point where she felt compelled to ask the police to check on Ashley's well-being. But her call did more than just raise alarms about Ashley's safety. She revealed a horrifying detail. Evidence of these gruesome crimes was hidden at her own home. The names of the men she accused were Ray Dandridge and Ricky Gray. The police took LaToya's report seriously. With the names of the suspects in hand, they acted swiftly, heading to the home of 21-year-old Ashley Baskerville, who lived with her mother, Mary Baskerville Tucker, and stepfather, Percyle Tucker. The scene that greeted the officers there was a grim echo of the tragedy that had unfolded in the Harvey household. Mary, Percyle, and Ashley had been savagely murdered, their bodies bound and mutilated in a manner strikingly similar to the Harveys. Mary and Percyle's bodies were found with deep cuts across their necks, duct tape binding them and covering their heads, adding a suffocating silence to their final moments. Percyle had been further brutalized with a sock forced down his throat, a grotesque silencer in his last breaths. Ashley's fate was no less cruel. She was discovered suffocated, a plastic bag her last veil from the world. The brutality and pattern of these killings led the police to suspect they were dealing with serial offenders, individuals killing for the sheer thrill of it. This wasn't just a local crime spree, it was a calculated series of murders that spanned beyond the city's limits. Law enforcement agencies across the region rallied together, determined to stop these killers before they could claim more lives. Their efforts paid off when, by tracing the suspects' movements back to Pennsylvania, Dandridge and Gray were arrested in Philadelphia on January 7th. During the interrogation, the narrative of these horrific events began to unfold in even more disturbing detail. Dandridge, 29, portrayed himself as a follower in this deadly duo, claiming the murderous spree was his uncle's idea. Gray, also 29, was more forthcoming. He confessed to the murders of the Harvey family and the Baskervilles without hesitation. But the revelations didn't stop there. Gray's confessions revealed a history of violence that was staggering. He admitted to killing his wife, Treva, in 2005, a crime that had gone unsolved as authorities had not suspected foul play despite her body being found in a shallow grave. Gray's casual recounting of these crimes showed a chilling lack of remorse or empathy. He also confessed to a violent attack on Ryan Carey, a 26-year-old man, on New Year's Eve. According to Gray, he and Dandridge had ambushed Carey for no other reason than their own twisted amusement, leaving him for dead. Gray's account of the murders was devoid of any reflection or emotion. He detailed the methodical way he slit the throats of each member of the Harvey family, a chilling testament to his ruthlessness. When it came to the Baskerville and Tucker murders, Gray described them as an escalation of a plan that had spiraled out of control. In a shocking twist, he claimed that Ashley Baskerville had been complicit in their crimes up until her own death, alleging that she had acted as a lookout during the murder of the Harvey family. These confessions painted a picture of a man who viewed human life with cold indifference. The community reeled from the realization that such monstrous acts could unfold in their midst, carried out by individuals who moved among them unnoticed. The arrest of Dandridge and Gray brought a grim sense of relief, but it also left a lasting scar on the hearts of those affected by their crimes. The investigation had taken a dark turn, revealing a web of violence and deceit that extended far beyond the initial tragedy of the Harvey family. Desperate for money, the group concocted a plan targeting Priscilla Tucker, a forklift operator rumored to keep significant amounts of cash at home. Ashley Baskerville, caught up in a dangerous game, consented to feign danger to herself, thinking her parents would be more inclined to comply under the threat to her safety. The plan swiftly took a dark turn. Once Gray and Dandridge had overpowered the family, they chose to eliminate every witness to their crime, including Ashley. Seen as an expendable part of their plan, they decided it was time for her to be permanently silenced. Tragically, when police discovered Ashley's body, they found her adorned with Catherine Harvey's distinctive wedding ring, a grim trophy that linked these heinous acts together. On February 9, 2006, the law caught up with Ricky Gray, charging him with 5 counts of capital murder. In a separate legal action, Ray Dandridge faced 3 counts of murder for his involvement in the deaths of Ashley Baskerville and her parents. Despite their initial confessions, both men pleaded not guilty when formally charged. The trial that followed lasted 6 months, capturing the attention and horror of the public. Ultimately, the jury found Gray guilty on all charges. For the murders of Brian and Catherine Harvey, he received a life sentence. However, the court concluded that the only fitting punishment for the murder of their children, Stella and Ruby, was the death penalty. Seeing the fate of his nephew, Dandridge opted for a plea deal in September 2006, accepting a life sentence without parole to avoid the death penalty. This decision closed a chapter on his involvement, ensuring he would spend his remaining days behind bars. Over the next 9 years, Gray's defense team launched a series of appeals. They argued that Gray's capacity to understand his actions was severely diminished due to an abusive childhood. These appeals, seeking leniency and understanding for Gray's past, reached as far as the Supreme Court. However, they were ultimately unsuccessful. The nation's highest court dismissed his case, leaving no avenue for appeal unexplored. On January 18, 2017, after all possible legal battles had been fought and lost, Ricky Gray was executed by lethal injection. In the wake of this tragedy, the Richmond community sought ways to remember and honor the lives of the Harvey family. Forest Hill Park, a place where the family had enjoyed many happy days, became the site of a lasting tribute. At the entrance to a footbridge within the park, a granite monument now stands. This monument is not just a piece of stone, it is a testament to the joy, love, and life of the Harvey family. A bronze plaque, bearing the smiling faces of Brian, Catherine, Stella, and Ruby Harvey, serves as a poignant reminder of a family whose lives were so brutally and senselessly taken. It encourages all who pass by to remember the brighter days before such darkness entered their lives. This memorial in Forest Hill Park is more than a marker. It's a place of reflection, a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment with our loved ones. It stands as a testament to a community's resilience in the face of unimaginable tragedy and its commitment to ensuring that the memory of the Harvey family continues to inspire and touch the hearts of those who knew them, as well as those who only know their story. The execution of Ricky Gray and the imprisonment of Ray Dandridge may have brought a legal conclusion to this horrific chapter, but for many, the journey of healing and reconciliation continues. The monument and the memories it preserves remind us of the indelible mark that Brian, Catherine, Stella, and Ruby Harvey have left on the hearts of their community, a reminder of the love, joy, and togetherness that once flourished, undimmed by the shadow cast by their untimely deaths.